All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is July 8th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, let's go take a look at some charts today and how I made 2K. All right, first we'll slide this over and we'll pick up a different chart. Okay, so let's start with everything that I traded today. All right, real P&L. All right, first one was the 618 puts. 618 puts made 2K on the 618 puts. 0 DTE. All right, you can see I was just buying the dip of the option and selling the peaks as price crisscrossed back and forth across the 8 EMA and across VWAP. All right, just nothing but consolidation for today. All right, nothing but just straight consolidation right on top of 620 support. 400 here on the 622 calls. All right, and see if they'll populate. Again, it's the same thing. All right. I'm just buying the dip of the option and selling the peak. Okay, I got disconnected from media right there. All right, and 6. All right, you can see the 620. $622 calls, 0 DTE, 368 on those. Again, buying the dips as price just kind of stayed in the same spot, selling the peaks of that option and buying the dips. 278 here on 3 days till expiration, 625 calls. There was no trend today. Okay, the trend was sideways. It was nothing but chop all day. Look how many times price crossed VWAP. You're under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, back over, under, over, under, over. All right, you guys see it? I mean, it just stayed on VWAP the whole day. All day long. All right? There was no trend. There was no trade. All there was just playing inside the range, all right, which was basically 620 up to 621.50, right up there. All right, so 278 on those, 95 on these 615 puts. All right, so 95 on the 615 puts. Again, there's no trend to be traded here. It was nothing but buying the dips and selling the peaks of the puts. 90 on the 615 puts, on those 90 on those 615 puts. Again, buying the dips and selling the peaks on the same thing. Those were 3 days till expiration 615 puts. $17 on the 614 puts. All right, again, buying the dips, all right, and selling the peaks up there. Okay, there was no trade, no trend. No trade today. It was a miserable day. All right, because it never got going anywhere for us. Because we usually make our money on 10-minute uptrends or 10-minute downtrends, and you can see we had no trend today. It was straight across, right on top of VWAP here. All right, just didn't get going anywheres. So into the close. You can call it a 10-minute downtrend. If you look at the price action came from up here. All right, so we went down and then over to the right. So that's a bear flag. All right, usually the next move is a move down lower. We'll see what happens. All right, obviously the bulls just kept buying it up here today. There's a possibility we wind up right back at the highs again tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but this is in a bull flag. Now the bulls had plenty of chance to take it up higher. They did not. All right. Instead, they just moved it over to the right. So we'll see what happens. All right. We never, after making this high in the middle, we never made a higher high. Yeah, very different. Yeah, totally different. Both of them. Yesterday, trend. Today, absolutely no trend. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. On the 2-hour, I'm going to venture to say that probably the 2-hour is still in a downtrend, because that's what we left off with yesterday. All right, so let's see what we got here. 2-hour. And you can see, if I zoom in, the 3 is underneath the 8. So we have a slight 2-hour downtrend. Again, it's up over the 17 EMA. Yeah, it's a bear flag. I said both types of what? It's a bear flag. Move down and over to the right. What was the other type? No, not bull flag. No, it's a move down and a move over to the right is a bull flag. Is a bear flag. If I said bull flag, that was a mistake. All right, it's a bear flag moving down. All right, if they bring it back up here tomorrow, that would be nice. All right, we'll see what happens if the bulls bring it up there. But right now we're looking at a bear flag for another move lower. Right on 620 support. On the daily chart, okay, inside day, closing over the trap. Well, actually in the trap and over the 17. You can check it out here. We're up at the top of quadrant 4. We're still bullish. All right, we haven't destroyed anything. We're just cooling off right now. After 9 days up, we're still cooling off. All right, so there's the daily chart. Weekly chart still in an uptrend. Monthly chart still in an uptrend. Okay, game plan did not work today because price never got into a trend. All right, all we had was straight across to the right. Okay, so no, the game plan did not work. All we had was just nothing but chop all day. Now, when price crisscrosses over VWAP, 3 times before 12 o'clock, there's a good chance you're in for a chop day. Now, usually most chop days last for about 4.5 to 5 hours. All right, but today just went all day long. All right, so maybe there is no second move lower on this bear flag, because that would have been the next move after 4.5 hours of consolidation in the bear flag would have been to move lower. We didn't move lower, so there's a possibility we wind up back challenging the all-time highs tomorrow after 2 days of rest. And you can see today was an inside day. Let's take a look at QQQ. Mel's asking me a question while I'm doing the video. Let me see what we got here. So you got confused. Yeah, if I said bull flag, I meant bear flag. I'm sorry about that. And what is my 17 EMA at? Which time frame? On the daily, on the 17, it is 611.07. And the 8 EMA on the daily is 617.61. 617.61. Okay? All right, I'm going to finish the video now. All right? All right, so there's SPYs. Take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ got an inside day, okay, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17. You can see up here at the top of quadrant 4, still in an uptrend. Just cooling off, all right? It's not, nothing's destroyed. Everything is still working here on QQQ, all right? We're still bullish, all right, up there, all right? Notice they didn't give it up, all right? Price moved up. And instead of giving it up, they're holding that higher ground. Same thing with SPY. Okay, notice they not giving it up. They're just holding the higher ground, indicating a possible move even higher. We'll see. We'll see what happens. FNGU. FNGU is a lower high and a lower low, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17 up at the top of quadrant 4. Again, holding the higher ground. That's bullish, still in an uptrend. Nothing is broken there. All right, that's still bullish. IWM. All right, IWM inside day, closing up in the upper third. That's bullish. All right, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Everything still bullish and in an uptrend for IWM. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, a little pullback here. Got another inside day. No surprise there. Okay, closing inside the bullish trap over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP up here in quadrant 4. Okay, so that's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Just cooling off after 9 days up. All right, so still holding that higher ground up there. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Notice for today's candle, they could have easily made a lower low on all of today's candle. All right, but instead of making lower lows, they moved over to the right. All right, they didn't make lower lows. All right, that's an indication there's we could be bullish tomorrow morning. All right, we'll see what happens. So there's a daily chart for Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at technicals, T2122, and of course we find ourselves back in the buy zone, and we made an appearance inside the overbought zone twice, but for the most part all day just camped out inside the buy zone. Pretty much what I thought might happen today. So there's T2122 15-minute chart. On T2123 15-minute chart, bullish. All right, almost from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Looks like they wanted to end their day soon, and you can see they got a little red candle there at the end of the day. Still holding this bullish trap open. Look at price. Hold that higher ground, okay? It's like holding a plank for like, 6 hours. All right? That's incredible. Nice work. And they got a little bullish gap up right there. Okay, see that bullish gap up? Never got filled today. Okay, there's a clue. Price probably going to be bullish tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. 3 more green candle bars. You can see price grinding away at the consolidation from February in the same location here. Okay, so where they're grinding away at supply. Price up over the 200 SMA, up over these 2 prior all-time highs. And this is the number to beat. If they get on top of that, they will negate the daily downtrend. You can see on the 15-minute chart and on the 3-bar chart, they're both in uptrends, making higher lows. See, there's a low, higher low, and they're making higher highs. See the high, and then there's a higher high. Same thing on the 3-bar chart. Okay, so you got a low, you got a higher low right there. Okay, you got a high, and you can see the higher high right there. So there's T2123 3-bar, also in an uptrend and bullish, holding the higher ground. Let's take a look at FNGU. Looks like FNGU caused most of the selling today. You can see red balls here. All right, for the candle bars, almost from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Obviously, they found some support on a rising 200 SMA on the 15-minute chart. You can see they took a, looks like they had, looked like a 5-taco lunch there with a couple of margaritas, and then they called it a day pretty early right there. Maybe too much hot sauce. We'll see. All right, FNGU hanging out over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. All right, still holding the higher ground up here. See the bull flag or the bull pennant. All right, bull pennant up there. So that's still bullish up there, FNGU. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. Let's start off with XLE. XLE having a fabulous day today. Okay, look at this fabulous day. Higher low, higher high. Closing back up here. All right, up against the all-time high anchored VWAP. Notice they went up and gave it up. Well, they've come back to take it back. All right, so nice work on XLE. Still neutral. All right, because they got a habit of moving up and giving it up. See, move up, give it up, move up, give it up, move down, give it up. So they're just neutral. Okay, they're not in the lower third. They're not in the upper third. Upper third would be bullish. Lower third would be bearish. Still stuck here on the midpoint. They are up over downtrend line 1 and downtrend line 2. Maybe they can hold the higher ground this time. I see they've come back 4 seconds. All right, so there's XLE. They're still in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. All right, got another higher low. We'll see if they can dig out a higher high here, okay? Notice the attack on the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. That's the pink line, okay? So that's just neutral, but acting bullish, all right? Still in an uptrend right there. Let's take a look at USO. All right, USO in the upper third, so that's bullish up there in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Definitely got a higher low here. Maybe they can make a higher high. It's going to be a tall order to make a higher high than that. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's let them try. All right, so there's price action for USO in an uptrend, higher lows, higher highs, up over this 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's a post-COVID high right there. So nice work for USO on the daily chart. Up in the upper third, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got closing under a bearish trap. Okay, so that would be bearish under the 17. That's bearish. In quadrant 1, that's also bearish. Underneath this measly 18-month high anchored VWAP, can't get over that. Okay, so under that, that's bearish. And you can see the bear flag put in, move down and over to the right. All right, and now you're getting a breakout to the downside. All right, and we are looking at a head and shoulders. You've got a double top here for the right shoulder. You've got a double top here for the left shoulder, and you've got the triple crown up here for the head. All right, so price action looking like it's ready to go attack the all-time lows down here, okay, showing a head and shoulders pattern. All right, you can see price action is underneath, making lower lows. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4 lows, and looking, you can see here that they've made lower lows. All right, so that's a downtrend, showing a head and shoulders pattern down here in quadrant 1. That's bearish. Let's take a look at GLD. GLD in a downtrend, okay, not moving down though, just kind of moving over to the right. Today's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap and under the 17 and under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still consolidating, holding this higher ground up here on the 300 level. Okay, you can see the majority of the candlesticks are over the 300 level right there. Okay, so holding this higher ground up here, that's bullish up there in quadrant 4. Okay, technically they're in a downtrend for making the lower low, but the good news is they're not moving down, so they're moving up and over to the right. That's bullish on GLD. SLV in an uptrend. Okay, you can see SLV closing inside a bullish trap over the 17. All right, up over the 12-year high anchored VWAP. That's a 12-year high right there. Okay, so you can see they're up near that 12-year high. They're holding the higher ground up there in quadrant 4, and they have an uptrend making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish up there in quadrant 4. Okay, so that's SLV. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH making an attack on the all-time highs today. You can see they came within pennies of making that attack. SMH looking good. Intel made some nice moves today. So you can see SMH is in an uptrend, making higher highs, higher lows, well over the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. SMH is bullish and in an uptrend right there. SMH is looking fantastic. Okay, XLK. XLK again making an attack on the all-time highs again today. Bullish and in an uptrend up there in quadrant 4. That's bullish at the top of quadrant 4 there. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at XLF. XLF cooling off a little bit. Nothing broken here. Okay, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. Still up here in quadrant 4, pulling back to minor support. Look for this to J-hook, hopefully off of minor support, and shoot up here and make another new high. We'll see. There's XLF. That's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Still bullish up here in the top of quadrant 4. Again, 9 days up. Taking a couple days off to cool off is not a bad thing. Okay, XLF. All right, having a healthy pullback. Let's take a look at IYT. Okay, IYT, nice candle today. Look at this, up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. Okay, so that's up there in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Let's see if they can hold the higher ground for once, all right? They've got a habit of moving up, okay, and giving it up. And see this? Up and give it up. Okay, up and give it up. Up. All right, maybe they can hold the higher ground for once. We'll find out. They're up there in quadrant 4 so far. They're still moving up. We'll let them keep moving up. Hopefully they can hold that higher ground up there around 71. They're up there in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Okay, you can see yesterday they put in a new rally high with that red candle right there, the sword. Okay, new rally high made yesterday. All right, you can see price action still in an uptrend, making higher lows. Okay, got some lows here, got some higher lows. You can see we got some highs here, and we got a higher high. So that's an uptrend. All right, so that's it for today. All right, I went over the trades. Again, I did the SPYs, mostly all I traded today. And you can see the results there for the trading today on SPY. All right. Any questions? If there's no questions, we're going to call it a day, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thanks. Thank you, Clark. Thank you so much. Yep. Can I show T2122 again? Yes. Yes. You know, if you ever miss it, all you got to do is watch the video. Okay, so that's the 15-minute on T2122 in the buy zone for the most part of the day, Mel. Okay, a couple of made an appearance in the overbought zone twice, right there. All right, traders. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see. Maybe we can get a trend going tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.